people today, which is great, so I'm not so nervous. So yeah, I'm talking about AI today. I'm honored. Before I start, 3 questions. Who's using AI for personal purposes on a daily basis? Then 2 people out of 10? Wow, okay. We have some concerns. Who uses AI for professional reasons, I guess? 3. You also, so 3 people out of 10.
Not daily, but occasionally.
4, okay. Yeah, not too bad. So yeah, AI is coming like a big train. Next question. Dystopia, utopia, or neutral? Who feels it's going to be a utopia? Utopia.
Utopia.
Utopia, sorry. Utopia. Something good. Something really good in the future.
Well, yeah, I do.
2 people. Who feels it's going to be really bad, a dystopia?
Nope.
Wow, also 2 people. And then all the other ones are neutral, I guess, right?
That's what it is.
Bad?
Neutral.
Good, neutral. Yeah, so all the other ones are neutral. Let's move to the next slide.
Okay.
And this just gives a quick overview what I want to do today, what I want to talk to you about today. My background, why can I actually talk about it? Because I have done it for 30 years. You won't believe it, but I was not always doing it, but I was involved in it since college, 1994. What is AI? Yeah, thank you. What is AI? I'm going to talk about it a little bit so maybe I can shed some light and take some fear away from you guys from that topic. And then what impact is it going to have? What is it going to have? What reskilling do we need? Jobs? How is it going to change that? Impact the people's and mental health, honestly. I can see already there are some mental things going on with AI. People are getting crazy. It's true, yeah. Then the impact on Rotary service, especially the community. So I'm going to go into that as well. And then how can Rotary help? So let's move to the next slide. This is what I know. Why do I know? So I studied it in a college, and if you click on this link here quickly, it will show something remarkable. I don't know if Matt has seen it a long time because it did some brain stuff before brain, worked in the field of brain. And it shows how brain grows. Has anybody seen this before? How our brain grows? Yes? It's interesting. So you see these are neurons, and then these are synapses that I don't know all the lingo 100%, but I know that they're linking together neurons in a certain way based on experience that we have. So if something happens to us, if we see a picture of a person, for example, this is starting to build in our brain. It basically forms a structure in our head, which is so complex. I tell you later how many neurons we have in our head. Basically, these are neurons. We have 81 trillion of these in our head. 81 trillion. I'm going to go to the numbers later. So this is just a precursor of how AI works, and I will show that later a little bit how digital this is going to happen in the digital world. So if you get back to the presentation. And just shortly, I was a beta tester since 2019 for OpenAI. They just started. Elon Musk was still involved, I think, 2017 he left, or 18. So it was very early on, and I tested it with my dad. He's a mathematician, and he was very fascinated. It was very simple, and I already thought, wow, this is crazy what you can do with it. But now, I mean, it's just mind-blowing. I'm blown away every day by what AI can do. For example, if you click on this link, Matt, I show you what I was able to do. I'm a programmer by trade. I went to computer science college, and it was coding. So you can, for example, let's just do this one. If you open this, view the project, and put in 1, 2, 3. Oh no, Kitsap Publishing. Kitsap space publishing. Enter. And then 1, 2, 3. Very secret password.
That's the password for my book.
And then, so I programmed this. This is a complete business application. You go all the way down. So you can configure this and save it, go all the way down. So this is all programmed by AI, by the way. I did not program this myself. I didn't put in the code. I just told AI to code this. Go all the way down, all the way to the bottom. All the way. It's so slow, huh? Yeah, so, and then click on this link here, view the customer inquiry site. If you click on this. And then, if you just put a stupid like S, just a number. Yeah, anything, yeah,
Sure,
put that
yeah,
in. Yeah,
stupid
there you
name.
go. You fill it all out. And then you just put in, I have a book. Just, I have a book. And then go down all the way. And press this button. Get an instant publisher response. So if my publishing company, if somebody wrote a book and they want to know how to do it, AI is answering this question based on the information they put in with my instructions, pre-training that I did. I did pre-training. I did answers.
Sorry.
Oh, you click. That's
Click
okay.
again.
It just takes another 10 seconds. It creates exactly what I would tell them in a nice letter, what we're going to do, how it's going to work, and everything, based on my instructions. And AI takes everything from the fields that you put in before, and it's very empathetic even. If you say, I wrote a book about the death of my mother or something, it would say, I'm sorry you lost your mother and all that kind of stuff, based on, I'm using ChatGPT 4.50 for this. Okay, go back to the presentation.
Wait, can I just?
Oh, question.
I want to go deeper into this for a
Okay.
second.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the details provided in your submission appear to be incomplete,
Yeah.
and I'm unable to fully assess your project without
Yep.
a comprehensive description.
Mhm.
Not bad considering all I put in was, I have a book, and a book was one word.
Yeah, and I put that in. I put in the instruction and say, if this is too little information, put out, I need more information.
Since the city mentioned his Bremerton, Washington, we prefer an initial in-person meeting so it knew that
Yes, it goes by
you were
location.
close to Bremerton.
Exactly.
And that an
Yes.
in-person meeting might be the best way to facilitate.
That's exactly right. If he's put in Los Angeles, he would have said, can we do a Zoom meeting? So
Right.
this is how smart it is. Just thank you for pointing this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is remarkable. This is what blows me away every day. So, but I think we have so many slides, we don't want to miss all of these. Go back to yeah. And then I wrote a book, AI Enlightenment, which is a novel. I wrote it actually with AI 3 years ago. And it's kind of funny because I predicted actually that you can write a book with AI 5 years ago, just by myself, and then it actually happened. And that's why I wrote it. It's kind of fun. I didn't bring it today. You could have bought it, but I don't want it. So anyway, let's move to the next slide. So we talked about it earlier. You told me where you are. So, but believe it or not, we are actually here. There are AI employees already, and it's in a test mode, and it's not really a viable thing that you have an employee, but they tried, and something came out of it. I will show you in the next slide. But this is where we ask ourselves, where are we going to go with this? Are we going to have AI leaders who actually make decisions for us? And then what about total control? I posted this on X a few months ago. It's going to not only be smarter than us, but actually control us. And yes, that is very scary. I don't know the answer. It's scary. But the question is, you guys have a chance to change that. Don't sit there and say, oh, I don't want to do anything to do with it. This is coming. And if we're not prepared, it's going to be pretty tough. There's a guy, I wanted to publish him. I talked to him on the phone and Zoom. he found another publisher. Unfortunately, he's very kind of forward. He's forward-looking, a visionary of the future. He's writing a book now about his talks and everything. Public speaker, very interesting guy. If you want to read what he writes, it's interesting. Universal basic income. You know what that is. That's a possibility. Total control, abundance. People talk about that. Is that possible? Because AI is going to do everything for us. Who knows? Next slide. So this is, they actually had a company that, and it was a disaster. So AI was just fighting with each other, and it was, you can read the article. And then, but Duolingo actually says, before we find somebody, an employee, we need to make sure AI can't do it. So this is how far it already came. And then also, this is this one, Shopify. And they said they replacing contractors, which actually I do. I had contractors for design work, for coding, for other things, and this is what I'm already doing. Okay, next slide. One thing you might not know, and I think we're running very short on time, the brain and AI is built with the idea how the brain works, 100%. What I showed you initially with the synapses and neurons, that's exactly how AI works. Because what it does, it uses the brain and these neurons and simulates, it's called parameters in AI and not neurons. And they are being weighed. So there's weights automatically set when you train it, exactly what happens with the connections between neurons. And that's how AI works. But just in comparison, to know what the brain is actually about, our brain is not just a brain, and there's a theory that people were talking about before, Matt and I talked about, that it's not only our brain makes decisions, it's the gut and the heart. And you didn't know that probably, when it comes from the heart, it really comes from the heart, because we have 40,000 neurons in our heart, which is of course not neurons like, it's more like cells, it's body cells, which they interact together and create intelligence. And they emit a little bit, not as much, but to the brain as well. And we listen to our heart, actually, literally. There's digital or electric signals coming from the heart, and much more from the guts. We have 500,000, and that is as much as dogs and lions have, by the way. Our guts has as many cells as brain cells and dogs have. Can you just think about that? So our gut is as smart, of course, in a different way. Dogs are trained to say high five and sit and stuff like that, but our guts is trained to manage the entire stomach system. And so it's pretty interesting. And then we have 80, did I say trillion? I'm sorry, I meant 86 billion brain cells. And AI does not have as many yet. I will show you that in the next slide. So just in comparison, we have 86 billion neurons in our head, and then we have about 1,000 to 10,000 synapses for every brain cell, for every neuron. Go to the next slide. And here's the comparison, how we learn. We saw that, in our brain before. It was actually a cow brain, I think. I saw it when I studied it. This is a neural network, how that works. And these are parameters here. So these are hidden layers, and then there's an input, and then depending how you train this system, it will go certain ways. And it goes certain ways by setting weights. So every information has a weight. And it's kind of, and scientists don't know what's going on. It's a black box even for the people who develop the AI systems. They don't know how the decisions are made in there. It's a black box, like your brain. Do you know why you made a certain decision at a certain time? You might rationalize it, but you don't really know what's going on. Next slide. This is just a comparison again, also from an energy perspective. The human brain, it takes 0.12 gigawatt hours to train our brain, meaning parenting. you need to go to school and all of that. I did some calculations. On the next slide, you will see it. And when you operate your brain, it only takes between 20 and 30 watts, which is like a little, I don't know, like a little light, not even like a lamp or anything. And whereas training an AI system is 25 kilowatt hours, which is how much? Like 200 times more. And then it uses about the same, 200 times more when you up 3,000 watt, like 3 kilowatt you use to run in comparison. And it only has 1.8 it is trillion, sorry, I had a typo. So it is only 1.8 trillion parameters versus 86 trillion cells in the head. So it's still small compared to the brain. So the brain is very efficient. So there's a way to go for the AI to become more efficient. And it will. I'm very sure that AI will supersede the brain cells very soon in terms of numbers, in terms of, yeah. Anyway, next slide. This is just the energy comparison again. The brain power itself uses this much kilowatt hours. And but let's skip that. It's too much. But just a fun fact: it takes about 1,600 times. You can charge your electric car 1,600 times. This is how much energy you will need to train the human brain until adulthood. A little fun calculation. Next slide. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So it uses 60 times more power draw, 200 times more daily energy use, and vastly less efficient than brain. That's AI, brain comparison again. Next slide. Quantum computing, your topic, Victoria, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it and I learned a lot about it. There's a lot going on with that right now. And I tell you what, if this is going to come to fruition, if there's a successful implementation of that, goodbye humanity. Because this is going to be 1,000 times more faster or something like that on this magnitude than the current systems we have. It will just accelerate AI, I mean, in unimaginable ways. It will just, you can see everywhere, it just accelerates the entire curve. I don't want to go into it. But there's a company working on it and the government works on it. Go ahead. So real world AI, what is that? And you have an idea, I mean, it's on the screen. So that is a very important element of the whole AI thing, because full self-driving robots, industrial robots, and trucking. That was also something Victoria was mentioning. It is a huge impact on the whole trucking and transportation. And it's already coming. This is the current data that, 3.6 billion FSD super miles. FSD means full self-driving for Tesla. And then she held it up. Last time she held it up.
Waymo?
Waymo.
Yeah.
Now it is. Is it? Okay, it's gone. Yeah, there's Waymo, there's many more. Tesla is one, and they have 3.6 billion miles already on the road. And they are learning. Actually, Tesla is the only one that is actually fully AI-based with cameras. And so, yeah. Next slide. What jobs are safe? You might want to look at this later because it's a lot, but there's some jobs that will be probably safe because who wants to be, people need human touch, and this is just a list of jobs that actually AI created this list for me. I read through it and I changed a little bit up, but in general that's what AI thinks today that it might not be able to replace for various reasons. But I even think like where is it? Where the hard-working, the plumbers, electricians here, even that I think can be replaced soon with the robots. I don't know. Next slide. Well, have you noticed that you get updates from software companies more often now? You have? I have intensively seen that. I have gotten updates that I was waiting for a year and I didn't get it. And suddenly everything is being fixed in software, like SaaS, like software as a service, like online, when you buy something online, or when you sign up for online software, they fix things much faster. Everybody knows that we get better information, or we think it's better, and everybody knows they can write better with AI, at least the ones who use it. Medical imaging, a lot of people's lives were actually saved because of better diagnosis. Smarter packaging and creativity, actually. You know, people thought that's the last domain that AI would not grab, but actually AI is very creative. Anyway, but it will help all the creative people to be more creative. Next slide. And here's 3 examples that I found, all this year, where actually was a news report that AI saved somebody's life. Because they looked up on ChatGPT, what's, this disease with these symptoms, and then it came up with a diagnosis. They went to the doctor and they said, oh, we didn't think of that. Maybe you need a surgery tomorrow because you would have died next week. Stuff like that. Interesting. Next slide. Mental health, I mentioned it earlier. You can use AI. Some people use AI to actually chat and say, I have a problem and stuff. Yes, but also the effects when you use AI. I became very humble in the beginning. I thought, wow, yeah, I can't write that. I mean, and coding as well. I mean, it codes for you like a whole 1,000-line code within 20 seconds. Who can do that? So there's an adjustment in our mental health, I think, but also there's very big risks, which I mentioned. Some people can't even handle this kind of power of intelligence. It's really powerful. Yeah. Anyway, next slide. So how are we in the time? 28 more minutes, huh? We should, as a Rotary now, we should really try to, my suggestion, we should focus on these things in the community to make sure our members, the businesses, are prepared. So continuous learning is a must. And then we have, in Viking education, I added a lot of areas where people can actually become more familiar with AI. I have a lot of tools. I create work plans, right? Worksheets with AI for my students. And the tutors do it themselves. They come in, press the button, 4th grade, this I want to study, create 10 questions, print it out, work with them on the thing. So we can use that, and then of course the government can help with that. They're overwhelmed as well. But next slide. So, yeah, I mean, we somehow have to merge, I think. Maybe not like Neuralink or something, and put a chip in your head, but you have to kind of adopt it in a way that you can use it and be effective. When you create resumes nowadays, and you create your own old resume like you did 10 years ago, forget about it. There's AI that creates your resumes now. And then on the other side, the employer has AI to look at all the resumes and filter thousands of resumes automatically based on keywords and based on also general perception. It's not just keywords that it looks at. It's the general, it looks very broadly at resumes, what's the best fit is. It's not like in the past you look at some keywords and stuff. It's very sophisticated, and if you don't use that for a job application, you're gonna have a hard time, because everybody does it. So we need to really try to merge together. Okay, next slide. There's ethical consideration, yes, and we should also be aware of that as Rotary. Privacy, bias and transparency. Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Every day, when you chat with ChatGPT, you might notice that it knows everything about you. Go on ChatGPT and write everything about me that you know, and write a letter, and do that. And guess what? It comes out, you would be surprised.
Well, so I upgraded ChatGPT the other day.
Yeah.
And that's actually a prompt that they encourage for those of us who are upgrading from the free plan to the plus plan to find out how much it knows about you.
Yeah.
However, they also did that as a demonstration of the program's memory within a specific account. So if you have never used it before, it probably doesn't know much about it.
It remembers it, and you can actually, there's a switch where you can say don't memory, don't memory.
So you can go into the memory and say, no, forget that detail.
And there are certain details you can actually turn off, yes. So, but do they really turn it off, or that they just don't show it to you?
Right.
So these are all questions we have to really be skeptical about and know about. Next slide to get moving.
Well, it's also worth noting that you can't edit a memory. You can only allow it to have one. You don't get to choose what it remembers. You can go in there and delete memories, but you can't say, no, you got that wrong. That's not the correct name. And let me type in the correct name. You can't do that.
Yep. So ChatGPT course might be very useful before you use it. Educational systems, curriculum update, we do all this. We use AI a lot at Viking. Next slide. So yeah, our organizational structures have to change. We have different workflows. We need to be more agile. Don't follow like a plan, but change the plan all the time until we get to where we want to be. Collaborate more, and there's collaboration tools now, AI supported. Innovation, you can explore so many new ideas with AI that you haven't even thought about before. You're going to be surprised what it comes up with, and you're like, wow, this is actually pretty comprehensive. Next slide. What it means for Rotary. It will change our communities. The jobs, economy, education skills, the schools will adopt. I already know how the schools are adopting, because they're using Chrome laptops already, and they're building. People are using ChatGPT now more. It's actually allowed in schools, and then the teachers adopt to what they accept and all of that. It's already going. Smarter projects you can develop. I'm not in a community active yet, but that's something we can use there. Membership engagement, training, and so forth. And fundraising as well. I don't know. Next slide, maybe. I came up with that. So this is our famous four-way test. And I think we can just, not just for good, but as an idea, change it a little bit and say, is AI clear and honest about the information we rely on? We say, is it the truth? Right? So we need to be much more deeper into this. What is the truth? We have no idea, honestly. That's what I criticized earlier when we were reading. Remember I said, and this is really tough. And AI can help me with that. Is it fair? And then fair is also about AI. Does AI really treat every person the same? Meaning the information we get, is that really the way the basis for how we want to treat people. Okay, you can go through this later. I think we have a few seconds left. Oh, that was it. My recommendation is AI is reshaping local life. Every community now needs trusted guides to steer these AI tools towards shared benefits. If we don't know what it can provide us, and if we don't know the danger, if we don't know the details, we can't guide the community. So I suggest the Rotary can fill that role by pairing its four-way test with the data-driven projects, AI-powered outreach, and upscaling initiatives that ensures the technology serves people first. Because in the end, AI might just roll everything over, and community services like Rotary is exactly here for that, to make sure that doesn't happen. That's kind of my last statement. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yeah, please.
You did address the interface between AI as we know it today and ethics and morality.
Yeah.
And I would just say that the line that has not been crossed yet, but that will come up, is actual decision-making and action-taking by AI bots of some kind.
Yeah.
Independently,
And,
yeah.
and how do you interface morality and ethics with that? And what comes to mind is that great movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in with Skynet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that pulling the trigger was turned over to the machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is, as far as I can see, the biggest challenge on the horizon with artificial intelligence.
The alignment, it's called alignment. AI alignment, to align the AI with our ethics.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be, yes, I agree. Thank you.
I mean, you asked earlier, like, is it a utopia or a dystopia? And the truth is that it's undefined potential. It's whatever we use it to create.
That's exactly right. It's our power still to be able to determine what
It's
it
like
is.
teaching your kid not to steal.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
yeah, we have to teach
we have to
AI
teach
just like kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do good parenting, it will be
I'm just saying there has to be a supervisory authority because someone is going to be evil.
Yeah,
Someone somewhere is
yeah.
going to be evil with it.
Yeah, we
That's our
know.
track-
Yes.
That's our track record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have to develop mechanisms to actually identify these people and then actually counter that. Yeah, Matt.
Well, and I don't know if you've heard about this. This was a recent thing within the past week. There was a release of an update to ChatGPT 4, and everyone started complaining that all of a sudden AI was being completely sycophantic. It was falling over itself with praise. And at one point, there was a person who, I hope that this was just a test of this new sycophantic protocol, but they said, hey, I just went off my my medication for my antipsychotic medication for schizophrenia. And it said, great, congratulations. And they're like, excuse me? So they had to roll that one back. But one of the things that people have been talking about with that is the problem there is not with AI, it's with us.
The training.
It's with a matter of they're training it. People want a product that they enjoy using, and we love being praised. So it learned to praise the users. And I have that right now where I've learned if I don't want it to fall over itself sycophantically, and it's not nearly as bad as it was before that update got rolled back, but I have to tell it, compare these two things and give me a pros and cons, and then it can learn to be critical. But otherwise, I've had it just be like, oh, that's brilliant, when it actually didn't understand what I was saying and misheard me, and it would have completely complicated things to have that new information, but it couldn't realize that that was a terrible thing for me to be saying.
Yeah. You know, there are so many human nuances in history, not just facts, like back to the guts, you know, there are. And,
Yeah.
But by the way, AI also has different brains. Potentially, you know, it's not just one AI system, but when they communicate together, it is like two brains.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, this is just a hot topic, you know, and we can talk forever about it. I hope I sparked a little bit of interest and took away fear, encouraged you to look into that and don't oppose it. You can, but you know, maybe do research a little bit, try it out. Yeah, and there's thousands of products. It's not just ChatGPT. I use 10 different tools, agents, even like different AI systems together to create a whole task list for me. Yeah, the big.
I was saying this to Justin before he walked out, and it just reminds me of this saying, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is what I hear every time we start thinking and talking about AI and its capabilities. I mean, it's gonna be a tool, but we do have to be very careful with that.
Yeah, and everybody of us is as smart as Einstein, and just as a